Alright, this is our video on section 3.1 on intersecting lines and angle relationships. First thing we're going to do is go over some vocabulary. We got 4 words here. First one is exterior, and like you would think, exterior means on the outside of. Okay, or outside. We've talked about this before with an angle. If we had an angle, we said a point was on the exterior of the angle. If it was outside of the angle, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So exterior means outside. Interior means inside. Another way we might think about that is between. You might hear me say that. Okay? But either way, that means interior. Alternate, for our purposes today, are going to be, we're going to use the word opposite. Okay? It'll be on opposite sides of something. Okay? And one way I usually tell people to remember that is if you think of like the alternate ending to a movie, a lot of the times that ending is going to be the opposite of what the original ending would be. If it ended happily, the alternate ending is going to have some chaos in it or something, so that they have opposite meanings. The last vocabulary word is a transversal, and it is a line that intersects two or more other lines. Alright, transversal, a line that intersects two or more other lines. And we're going to look at a transversal here in figure 1. So make sure you get this copied down. We have one horizontal line, another line that's going up to the right, and then a second line or a third line that's almost vertical, but it's not quite vertical yet. Now this line right here, the one that's almost vertical, is our transversal. It's the transversal because it intersects the other two. Now we've seen this before where this bottom line, if we continue it on, it'll intersect the upper line. But we're not going to worry about that for our picture. We just want to see that transversal here is intersecting the other two lines, and that's what makes it the transversal. Now we're going to add some numbers to these angles. We're going to add the numbers 1 through 8 and make sure that they are in the same order that we've got on our picture here. They're going down on the left-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up on the right, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because those will be important when we talk about these angle relationships, which is the second part of our notes here. And the first angle relationship is consecutive interior angles. Notice it's got one of our vocabulary words in it, interior. That'll be important. Okay. Now there's another name for these. They are called same side interior angles. And you may see that or hear that someplace else. But consecutive interior angles and same side interior angles mean the same thing. They're the same angle relationship. What this angle relationship is, it's a pair of angles on the same side of a transversal inside or between, because we use those words interchangeably, that goes with interior, inside or between two lines. Okay? I'll say it again. A pair of angles on the same side of a transversal between two lines. And we're going to look at our picture here, and I'm going to give you 2 pairs of angles from our picture up there. One pair of consecutive interior angles is angle 2 and angle 3. They are both on the left-hand side of our transversal, and they're between the other two lines. The other pair are angles 6 and angle 7. They're both on the right-hand side, and they're between the two lines. Those are consecutive interior angles. Our next one is alternate interior angles. It's got 2 of our vocabulary words. Okay, alternate we said meant opposite or on opposite sides of, and interior meant the inside or between. So for this angle relationship, it's a pair of angles on opposite sides of a transversal between two lines. Okay, let's say it again. Alternate interior angles are a pair of angles on opposite sides of a transversal between two lines. Now in our picture there's going to be two pairs of those. And the first one is angle 2 and angle 6. Notice they are on opposite sides of that transversal, and both of them are between the two lines. Now, one of them is up on the top line, and the other one is on the bottom, and that's important. They won't be next to each other, because then they'd be supplementary. Angles 2 and angle 7 are supplementary. That's not the relationship we're talking about. We're talking about angles 2 and angle 6. Okay, there's another pair. They are angle 3 and angle 7. Same idea, opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the top line, one's on the bottom, and they're both between the two lines. Third angle relationship, alternate exterior angles. Same idea as alternate interior, except the different keyword here is exterior, which is going to mean on the outside. So its definition is a pair of angles on opposite sides of a transversal outside two lines. Alright, and in our picture there's two pairs of these. The first one, angles 1 and angle 5. They are on the opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the left, one's on the right. One is on the top of the top line, and the other one is on the bottom right of that line, of the bottom line. Okay? Opposite sides of the transversal, both of them are outside of the two lines. They're on opposite sides of those lines. The other pair would be angle 4 and angle 8. Same idea. Opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the top, one's on the bottom, and they're outside of the two lines. The last one here is corresponding. And corresponding angles, we're going to go ahead and write just the same place. Same place on different lines. I'll explain what that means here in a second. Same place on different lines. Our transversal cuts two lines. It cuts the one that goes horizontally and then the one on the bottom here that kind of slopes to the top. What we mean by same place is that if we cut that transversal in half in between those two lines and we placed it on top of the other one, that the angles would be in the same spots. So something like angles 1 and angle 3. Okay? They're both on the upper left side of our lines. Okay? That top upper left spot. They're in the same place. Okay? And that's what this means. Now there's three other pairs of corresponding angles in our picture, and one of them is angles 2 and 4. Another one is angles 5 and 7. And the last one is angles 6 and 8. Okay? Those are our four pairs of corresponding angles in our picture. The last thing we're going to talk about are skew lines. And skew lines are lines that do not intersect and are non-coplanar. And if you remember what non-coplanar means, it means not in the same plane. Okay, so we've got skew lines, lines that do not intersect and are non-coplanar. We've got a figure over here. Okay, and we're going to identify some skew lines in this figure. One of our lines is going to be this bottom part. Okay, that's the first one of our lines. Now we want a line that is not in the same plane, so it can't be anything on the bottom or anything in the front, and it cannot intersect with that line that we've already drawn in there. Now here's one skew line that goes with it. It's this one in the back. The one in the front goes horizontally, and the one in the back goes vertically, and they are in two completely different planes. Okay, they are non-coplanar. They will never intersect. That's what skew lines are. Now there's several different pairs. There's a whole bunch of pairs in this picture. For this one line here, we could have 4 different lines. We've got the one in the front, and then that one we've already drawn. Could go on the other side back here and add one. There's another skew line. Okay, so now we've got, excuse me, got 2 lines that are skewed to that original one. We could add a line here. There's a skew line. There's another skew line. So there are 4 different skew lines we could identify to that one original line that we've drawn. Okay? Just remember that they cannot intersect and that they are non-coplanar. And those are your notes for section 3.1 on intersecting lines and angle relationships.